Welcome to Building the Future. I'm your host, Kevin Horick. You can check out new episodes of the show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. If you missed an episode or want to get more information about the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com. Welcome back to the show. Today we have Connor Ford, co-founder at Spirit App. Connor, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. I think what you're doing is very cool, innovative, but maybe before we kind of get into that, let's get to know you a little bit better and kind of cover your background and where you grew up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born in Warrington, England. It's a little small town in between Manchester and Liverpool.
Okay.
Kind of smack in the middle, so the soccer rivalry there is pretty big.
Sure.
I'm 19, so I was born in 96.
Wow. That's awesome, man. When we get into it, you've accomplished a lot in 19 years. So that's awesome. Keep going, sorry.
I was born there, and whole family still lives there.
Okay.
The only people over here is my grandfather, and then, of course, my parents. We moved when I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
So it was my dad's job. He was running the European division of a manufacturing company, and they asked if he wanted to come over to the U.S. and kind of do the global one. So it was a bit of a no-brainer.
Got you. Yeah, fair enough, right? That sounds like a good promotion you want to go for. Yeah. Fair enough.
My mum at the time, and when I was still in England, she was kind of the head of an IT firm.
Okay.
So she'd always kind of instilled this love of technology.
Okay.
Into me, I guess you could say.
Sure. So you grew up around it from an early age.
Yeah.
So was there one kind of defining moment for you, or even maybe series of moments where you were like, this is for me, I want to do something in kind of technology or IT?
I'd always kind of grown up with it, so I never really know when it started. It was just kind of always computers, and it started with hardware, moved to software.
Sure.
When I was about 13, that's when I started programming.
Okay. So what got you programming?
It's kind of weird, actually. Actually, the movie Iron Man.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I think that's inspired a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the movie Iron Man inspired you. So what about the movie inspired you?
So there's most people have probably seen it was this talking computer kind of Jarvis. It's his personal assistant. It does everything he wants. He wakes up in the morning and wakes him up and opens the blinds. And I'm like, wow, that is really cool. And
sure,
kind of lazy myself, so I'd love it if it could turn my lights on when I get up in the morning and not have to get out of bed. So it was just kind of that. I was watching the movie and said, I want to do that myself.
Okay.
So at this point, we'd already moved to the U.S. I think it was about 13 maybe when that happened.
Okay.
And I decided I wanted to try to get into home automation things and try and create my own Jarvis.
Okay, interesting.
So, and I'm surprised my parents would let me do this. They come home sometimes, I'd have my hands in the wall, there are holes everywhere.
Really? That's awesome.
Breaking open the electrical panels, and I remember I was taking out lights and speakers to run wires all around the house.
Really?
And then
wow.
Eventually got the room set up to where I could talk to it and it would respond.
Interesting. So how did you kind of decide what to put in a room? Did you just do a bunch of research online? How did you figure out what kind of home automation stuff you could do?
Yeah, it was just research online.
Okay.
It's people always ask, how did you learn to code? How did you learn to do that? And it really just Google.
Sure.
Just
interesting.
Googling.
So you didn't take any classes or anything to learn how to code. You just learned online.
Learned online. The only formal class I took was freshman year at my high school in Althorp, Johns Creek.
Okay.
It took an AP computer science class, but by then I was already programming.
Got you.
Because, my school don't normally let freshmen take AP courses. I was the first person at their
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
To take an AP course.
Sure.
Then I took that class, and that kind of gave me a little more, formal learning, you could say, instead of just self-taught.
Got you.
We were learning Java.
Okay.
Honestly, I haven't used Java since, but
sure. But I think Java's a good language to start with, right? Because you can learn quite a bit of things with it. It powers a lot of stuff. You can eventually end up writing Android apps with Java.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's not a bad place to start, right?
Exactly. It's a good place to start. I mean, at the time, I was looking at it like, I think I saw it as, I'm not going to get much use out of this. But
Gotcha.
later on, I realized, the fundamentals of it actually help with basically every other language.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of like you need to understand how to program. The language is almost irrelevant.
Exactly.
Because you can apply that knowledge of programming to any language, really. You just need to learn the syntax in the language that you're trying to program in.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And it, like you said, Java programming is used for making Android apps.
Sure.
I haven't made a Android app for my company Spirit yet.
Right.
The first Android app I made was actually part of that home automation thing. I had a little tablet attached to the bed. So you could press the buttons and it would react around the room.
That's awesome.
So I guess actually I have made an Android app. I didn't think about that.
Sure. That's really cool. So what kind of stuff did you be able to do with this Android app and controlling the room? So like lights, what else? Or was there anything else?
So there was lighting, so it would automatically do it too. So when I woke up, I had, I kind of put a speaker system, hid it around the room, and put like a subwoofer under the bed.
Sure.
So it would speak too.
Very cool.
So in the morning, it'd say, good morning, Mr. Ford. It turn on the lights, and it read out like a quick weather report. Don't know why I needed it. I was 30. I didn't really care about it.
Whatever, you could do it, so you did it. I got you. Yeah.
Read out a quick weather report. Didn't really get into much, do much more with that. So I looked at getting the blinds to open by themselves, but of course I was paying for all the equipment myself, so I didn't want to buy. I didn't want to buy, a bunch of things for the house where. If I wasn't really sure, I mean, I was 13, I didn't really have much money.
Sure, yeah. No, that makes sense. So what kind of got you thinking about founding and starting kind of Spirit? And what exactly is it?
So Spirit, it's a software product. It's an app for schools.
Okay.
Basically, students, parents, teachers, they have an app on their phone. They can see all the extracurricular events going on around their campus. So that's a football game, drama production, soccer match, anything like that, chess team, anything.
Got you.
And they can see everything going on. But the real fun is when they get to the event, they actually check in on their phone. They get points for attending.
Okay, interesting.
So you have a competition throughout the year between all the different students, all the different grade levels or teams. So can be other than grade levels.
Sure.
And then they get prizes, rewards. They have a little leaderboard. So, it's that kind of internal competition between the students to see who has the most school spirit, who has the most points.
Got you.
And then it engages students, allows them to communicate better with their school administration. It's really just a communication tool for schools. But it's interesting because people sometimes ask, did you decide you wanted to start the company first, or was this just something where you saw a need in your school and then the Spirit kind of began there?
Sure.
So it was a need in my school. I mean, I'll give you an example. I was sitting in class once, in homeroom, and they came over the intercom system and said, we're going to have this fantastic event. It's going to be a gingerbread making event for the art department. Support the arts. And we need at least 5 people to RSVP.
Okay.
The website is www.evite.com/x1329.
Oh man, yeah.
You're sitting there, you turn around like, did anyone get that? No. They canceled the event, and they were trying to communicate with us with posters, and my school had about 40 different Twitter accounts for all the different teams and
got you.
All the different organizations and clubs, and it was just a real mess to kind of keep up with all that as a student. Sure. I didn't have a Facebook account, so I couldn't keep up with whatever groups might be on Facebook. It was just hard to keep up with everything. So I developed it first for my school.
Okay.
Because my school were also doing something where they would count how many students went to an event, and they give them points, and they'd have a competition.
Okay, but on paper, like how are they calculating this?
So someone was printing out like a Excel spreadsheet of all the students at one event, and there'd be one person there saying, okay, you're here, you're here, you're here. And
so a nightmare.
Absolutely. I mean, someone would have to go through and manually, write who was there. Someone would have to then tally that up at the end of every single event, and it was done.
And then enter it somewhere?
Exactly.
Oh,
like
man.
a spreadsheet. And it was done by students too. So, it was kind of, I'll just say here's here because I want my grade to get the points for that.
Sure.
Because they were offering some pretty good prizes.
Okay. So what kind of prizes, out of curiosity?
Let's see. They were offering, one year they did they took the winning grade to the North Georgia mountains to a retreat.
Wow. So some good prizes.
Good prizes, yeah. So, it really got people to partake, and it's like, I'm going to go to as many events as I can if I can get that. Or I know one year they did, you took a day off school and you got to go to Sky Zone and to a movie with your grade. And
what's Sky Zone for people that don't know?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's a kind of a local thing. So
okay,
it's like a trampoline park, I guess you could say.
Okay, very cool.
Like, they have basketball and you basically just bounce around all day. It's like like a gym where they have big things you can jump on. And
okay, very cool.
So they were offering prizes like that. So, of course, kids were going to say, I want to go to as many things as I can. And it did. It engaged them to go, and it helped boost school spirit around the school. So when I developed Spirit, it was really to solve that problem for my school.
Got you.
But it turned out that other schools were either trying to do the same thing or having the same communication problems.
Sure.
I got involved with organizing some of the events at the school. I joined student government, and then I looked at other schools around the area, and I thought this could really be something that could help other schools, the community. Maybe I should start something.
Got you.
So I went and spoke to my dad and said, I've got this idea. I'm thinking I could do it to other schools. And he said, okay, all right. He's seen me make these things before, so
sure.
Something else. And he said, but he told me later that he thought, there's got to be something else like this out there. So we did a lot of research. He looked around and he said, there's nothing really out there if it does the same thing.
Sure.
Because a lot of things at the moment, like Facebook, Eventbrite, things they were using to kind of organize events were really just for one-off events.
Totally,
Not for an organization which have a lot of smaller events, maybe a big one every now and then. There wasn't really anything out there to satisfy that need, especially with the points check-in. So he looked at it and he said, okay, I think this is something you could do. So they supported me all the way.
Okay, so you started moving these to other schools. Did at some point you raise money, or who is doing kind of the development of this? Just you? Did you have other people?
So we started off with a developer actually out of the UK.
Okay. So why did you find a developer out of the UK, or how did you go about doing that?
So he was actually a kind of friend of the family's.
Got you.
And we'd known him for a long time, and he's actually with my aunt. They're partners together. So he said, look, I've looked at the code. I think it's great, but I think we could make some improvements.
Sure.
So we did everything with him. He did development of the web version. I did the iOS version.
Got you.
And then lately in the last year, I went through and did the web version again in a different language because I wanted to do some of the development myself too.
Sure.
So he helped start off. My dad was funding the whole thing.
Got you.
And then now we have a few more people on board. We have someone who does marketing for us.
Okay.
We have a few interns. We have a sales kind of account executive. So it has, it's grown a lot since then, but the original funder, I guess, was my dad.
Very cool. So are you looking at going outside of kind of the school kind of market? Because this could really apply to pretty much any organization.
Mm-hmm. And that's something we looked at the beginning is, he looked at it and he said, I could even see use for this in my own company.
Totally.
Employee engagement is huge.
Yeah.
Companies always want to, especially the new tech companies and the older ones like Google, they're always wanting to engage their employees, keep them happy.
Totally.
He said, I can even see this there. So we did look originally at other markets. Even churches, nonprofits.
Sure.
We actually have a nonprofit now that are going to be using Spirit. So they're kind of our first nonprofit to use it.
Very cool.
But we did decide that we wanted to focus on one market first.
Makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. The high school market first, really, because their students can use it.
Got you.
Some elementary schools actually did approach us wanting their parents to use it. Because they say, especially in the private school market, parent engagement is huge too. You want the parents to be happy. You want them to be involved.
Yeah, fair enough.
And sometimes in these, these smaller schools, we've heard parents complain saying, it's always the same 5 parents doing everything at the school and they get all the credit, but I'm there at every single game, every single event cheering on.
Interesting. I never thought of that angle, but it does make a lot of sense, right? And then the other thing too is then the parents can see all the events that are going on, because I know if they're giving kids like little pieces of paper, that piece of paper may or may not make it home, exactly. Never mind into the parent's hand, right?
There's a 99% chance it's going to stay in the bottom of the backpack until the end of the year when they clear it out.
No, totally. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm kind of curious to know, where do you kind of see this thing going? Like what kind of new features are you guys kind of planning for, the rest of the year?
So currently at the moment, we've got a pretty great product. It has the check-ins, can track points.
Got you.
The event management, we can promote events, communication tools, so sending notifications to students, that's all in at the moment.
Okay.
For the future, we want to put in event ticketing.
Okay.
So it makes sense, if a student or a parent or whoever is looking at the event, they've RSVP'd, they said, yes, I'm going, it makes sense to let them buy the ticket right there.
Yeah.
And it'll really make it easier for schools because, I'll give you another example from my own personal experience.
Sure.
Drama teachers putting on a play at my school.
Got you.
The process was you'd email the teacher, say you wanted tickets. Teacher would email back, say, how many, they get all that sorted out, and then you send a check-in with the student, which probably going to end up in the bottom of the backpack till the end of the year.
Sure.
And then they'd send the tickets back, or you pick them up at will call. And if you're doing that at a large school, that can be a lot of trouble.
Sure.
A lot of effort, a lot of administration work. So we want to put that in to make it easier for them. Some schools actually, we spoke to one school who said they were having trouble with counterfeit tickets, which I thought was interesting.
Oh.
Some students were making their own tickets and then selling them on as cheaper than the school tickets.
Interesting.
Which I thought that was very interesting. But, it would stop that because it'd be a virtual ticket on your phone.
Right.
It'd have QR code. It would verify that only one was used.
Sure.
So we're looking to do that.
Okay.
We're also looking to allow schools to sell their spiritware through the app.
Okay.
So spiritwear is, a sweatshirt that might say the school's name, or a T-shirt, something like that. So we're looking to sell that through the app, make it really easy for students to get their hands on things like that. And then another thing we're looking at doing is sponsorship.
Okay.
So I'm very against mobile ads, but I kind of wanted to give back to the schools also,
Sure.
have them make a little more money.
Sure.
So one of the ways I was thinking of that is when a student checks in on their phone, they'd simply see a message that pops up which says, thanks for checking in. Thanks to your check-in, a company, whoever, has decided to donate $1 to your school's new library project. Or maybe even giving the student the option to pick themselves, where do you want the money to go? Do you want it to go to the arts program? I support them, or athletics, or robotics, whatever it might be.
Sure.
They're just a few of the things we're looking to put in the pretty near future, and by the end of this year, we're hoping to have ticket sales and maybe spiritwear in.
Got you.
So there are just a few future things we're thinking of putting in.
Okay, so how are you guys? Are you monetizing this right now? Like, are you guys making any money off this, or is that kind of down the line as well?
So we are making money off at the moment. We're charging a monthly subscription fee.
Okay.
Which depends on how many students they have at the school.
Got you.
It's really low cost for the school, though. I mean, up to 50 people, it's free. So if they want to use just the calendar tools, they can do that themselves for free.
Got you.
And then up to 1,000 users, so students or parents, that's $95 a month.
Okay, so it's pretty inexpensive, especially if, like, once you start adding all this kind of promotional stuff where you're giving money back into the school too, right?
Exactly. But it's really, I wanted to make it a no-brainer for the schools. Make it affordable, make it easy for them to say, oh yeah, we should definitely get this. It's
sure,
because one of the problems we've been seeing is it's a lot of the school administrators have in their mind, we've been doing this for 40 years and we don't need to change now.
Yes, for sure.
And really, Spirit's going to save them time. It's going to get boost school spirit, get more people out to the events, make them more money through ticket sales. It's just kind of hard to get them over that hurdle of we don't need to change.
Got you. So how have you been kind of dealing and solving that problem?
Really just talking to them, just showing you've always got to find that one person in the administration who's willing to say, yeah,
Got you.
we got to do this.
Got you.
Because some people might fear, oh, if this doesn't work out, it's going to look bad for me, or
right.
something like that. But like I said, a lot of schools were afraid to innovate, but they're going to have to.
Sure, it's just a matter of time, really,
exactly.
Right? Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
The past 10 years, a lot has changed.
Yep.
And it's really starting to happen to the education market. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine, Scott Barron, last week. He's at School Growth. He was telling me about this new law they're thinking of introducing in Oklahoma. I hadn't heard of it before, actually, but I think it's a pretty good idea. It's basically an education savings account.
Okay.
So instead of the state just giving the same amount of money to the public schools, the money would follow the student. So they'd have basically a bank account which the state would put the money which they would spend on the student into this account, and they leave it up to the parents to decide where they want the money to go.
Interesting.
So that money could go towards tutoring, books, private school tuition even, or to the local public school. So
Got you.
They're going to have to innovate and become competitive between each other and actually try and improve, or else they're just going to lose students and therefore lose funding.
Got you. No, that's very cool. I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's maybe transition a little bit. So you're a board member at 19. So what board are you on? What do you guys do? I'm fascinated by this whole thing.
So I'm a board member on the Greater Alpharetta Tech Network. We're basically a group of tech executive startups who run this organization. We put on a lot of events in the Alpharetta area. We work with the city and the Alpharetta Technology Commission, which is a group of, well, again, it's kind of the economic development arm of the city.
Sure.
We're really just all about boosting technology in the Alpharetta area. So Alpharetta is a city just north of Atlanta, about maybe 20 miles, 30-minute drive.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah, depending on traffic. Sure.
Yeah, no, trust me, Atlanta traffic is the worst. But we're all about just boosting tech in the area. I mean, Alpharetta was just named by NerdWallet the #1 place to start a small business.
Really?
In the whole country.
So why? Why was that?
Really, it's a lot of the things the city are doing. They're really trying to promote tech. We have a great workforce in the area.
Okay.
We already have a pretty good number of tech companies. We have 800 tech companies in the area.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, we've got big names. We've got Verizon's there, AT&T are there, Microsoft are there, and then also the smaller companies too.
Sure.
There are a lot of initiatives going on just to boost entrepreneurship in the area. The whole city's wired up with fiber.
Okay.
So, the city there really wanted to make it the technology city of the South.
Got you.
And that's what they've said. That's kind of their new slogan is Alpharetta, Technology City of the South.
Got you. Okay.
There are a lot of new buildings that are going. So the Alpharetta Technology Commission, which is kind of that part of the economic development of the city, they have their new innovation center.
Okay.
There's things like Avalon, which is it's kind of a live, work, play area.
Sure.
They're going to be building a huge conference center there.
I
can't remember how big, but I think it's somewhere like 600,000 square feet.
Oh, wow. Just this massive thing. Yeah.
They're going to put a nice hotel next to it. So they're really, really trying to boost tech in the area.
Gotcha.
But the Greater Alpharetta Tech Network, we're just about, connecting people, bringing people together, creating opportunities for businesses. So a lot of the opportunities I've had have actually come from that network.
Okay, very cool. So that's how you got involved, or how did you originally kind of get involved with them?
So there's a friend of mine, Matt McKee.
Okay.
We actually go to North Point Community Church together. We volunteer on a Sunday, and I kind of had no idea that he was this big tech player and investor.
Gotcha.
I mean, he's
and you met him at church, just hanging out. That's awesome.
Just hanging out in the back. We just finished our it's kind of our group production.
Sure.
He was the Bible storyteller. I've run sound there, and
okay.
He yeah, we were just talking and found out that he was this, big tech person. And I said, well, I've started a tech startup, so I'd love to get coffee one day and kind of meet up. And
sure.
So we went out, we talked, and he's actually now involved in Circle. It's products by. It's actually they've got a deal with Disney now, so it's Disney Circle, I think it is. But
right. Which is awesome for him,
yeah,
sure. And good for you to know somebody like that. Yeah, they got you.
Exactly. He's doing really well. He's doing great now with Circle. They've had some great success. So
sure,
good for him. But we were talking, and he said, I want to introduce you to Karen Cashin. She's president, founder of Gatton. And I went to one of their board meetings, and they said, we'd love to have you on, just because they want to get kind of that. What are students thinking at the moment? What are the kind of younger crowd? What are they thinking with tech? Because there are, for example, the Johns Creek Chamber, they're doing an app competition for students in local schools around Alpharetta.
Okay.
So there are kind of initiatives to get younger people involved in tech.
Very cool.
So they wanted to have me on, get my input, and see what I could do to help tech in the area too, I guess. So
sure. That's awesome. Congrats, man. That's huge for you, right?
Much, yeah.
And for them, obviously, because you're adding tons of value there, right? And so I'm kind of curious to know, where do you kind of see yourself going? Because what's kind of the future for Connor? I'm curious.
Well, my original plan straight out, when I graduated high school last May, was to, do Spirit full time.
Got you.
That still is my plan.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go to college.
Okay.
But school around here, Georgia Tech, they're pretty well known.
People may have heard of them. Yep.
They actually approached me, and she asked me to apply basically.
Okay, interesting.
So I couldn't really turn that down.
Fair enough.
They were saying. It's interesting how we met too. Actually, my school were kind of having an information session for parents.
Got you.
They had I think she's director of admissions at Georgia Tech. They had her come in and speak to parents about, how your children should be, what they should be doing, how they should be applying. And I was the sound guy because I did a lot of tech stuff for my school just because it wanted to help them. And
sure.
I was putting her microphone on. We just kind of got talking, and she said, just come by the office one day. So, all right, why not?
Yeah, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So so I will be starting at Georgia Tech in the fall.
Awesome. So what are you taking?
I'm going to be studying business administration.
Got you.
So I think that once you kind of get the basics of computer science and programming, there's kind of so much you can do, unless you want to go on to learn how to do machine learning, artificial intelligence, things like that. But that isn't really on my radar.
Got you.
So I think where I could improve would be just business skills.
Sure.
Basically, might need a little more formal learning there.
Okay.
So I'll be starting there in the fall as a freshman.
Sure. Are you going full time or just part time or?
I haven't exactly figured that out.
Okay.
Because honestly, the business is the priority.
Sure. Got you.
But in the next few months, I'm going to be figuring that out, talking to them, and we'll kind of see where things go.
Got you.
But they have some great programs there for entrepreneurs. They know that a lot of their students are going to be starting tech companies and doing things like that. They've got programs there like ATDC.
Okay, what is that?
I'm not sure what it's really defined as. I think it might be an incubator, really.
Okay, gotcha.
They have space, they have mentors, they put you in touch with investors.
Very cool, actually.
Yeah, so that's really why Georgia Tech has done so well.
Sure.
Lately, they've really aligned themselves with companies. They've kind of encouraged that entrepreneurial spirit in their students.
Sure.
So they've really done a great job there, and that's, I think, why they've grown so much lately.
Got you. No, I think that's awesome. But we're kind of running out of time, so maybe let's close the show with kind of covering where people can find Spirit and the Tech Network online as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to check out Spirit, the website is spiritapp.co.
Okay.
If you're a school administrator, trust me, you'll love it.
Awesome.
If you're a student, you will too. And then for the Greater Alpharetta Tech Network, the website's GATN, that's GATN, connect.org. And if you want to get involved with tech in the Alpharetta area, you want to support the area, or even if you're not in Alpharetta, you just want to know what's going on, it's a great place there. They have news, blogs, they've got events going on, so it's a great area for Alpharetta resources.
Very cool. Connor, well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch and kind of following your progress through the next year and beyond.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right,
okay,
thanks.
Bye. Thanks for listening. The music for the show was done by Electric Mantra. You can check them out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.